This quick video tutorial will show you how to apply metadata in bulk to a set of files which have the same attributes but may have the same or different values for each attribute. Full instructions for how to do this are on the Cyverse wiki on the page Managing Metadata. On that page, you just click on adding metadata in bulk. For this tutorial, we're going to focus on adding metadata when all of the files are in a single directory, but there are also instructions here for adding bulk metadata when you've got your data files stored in different directories. And also, if you're using templates for metadata, there are instructions under the metadata template page for adding metadata in bulk using a template. To do bulk metadata addition, we're going to work within the discovery environment. So the first thing you'll need to do is get the example files and metadata for this. They are under the under Data, Community Data, iPlant Collaborative, Metadata Templates, and then, since we're not actually using a template, they're in the folder Non-Template Example. In order to do this demonstration, you will need to download all of the files that are in metadata test and then re-upload them into your own personal directory. The reason for this is because you don't have write permission for it within this folder. If you open this README text file, you will see instructions for how to do that. And as it says, if you don't actually feel like doing this, you can just watch this video and then try the same example on your own files. I have already downloaded all of the files from here and then re-uploaded them into my home directory, into a folder with the same name, which is called Metadata Test. It doesn't really matter what the folder is named here. So you can see within this folder, I've got first the CSV file that contains the actual metadata, as well as 3 data files. They're just called test 1, 2, and 3, but they could be really any type of data file. Let's take a look at the example metadata file and see the structure, because it's very important that you follow a specific structure when creating a CSV file of your own. The first row must contain the name of the attributes. In this case, I've only got 3 attributes: file name, letter, and number. And it's very important that no matter what your other attributes are, that the first column is always the name of the file. You don't have to call the attribute file name. You could call it anything you want. But when you get to the individual rows for different files, you must include the name of those files exactly as they appear in the Cyverse data store in that first column. So you can see for the first row, we have the first file, which is called test 1, etc., test 2, test 3 in each of the additional rows. You can have as many rows as you want for as many files as you want to apply metadata to. The additional columns in each row are the attributes for the other value, are the values for the other attributes. In the case of the attribute letter, it's got values A, B, and C, and for the attribute number, it's got values 1, 2, and 3. If you've already got your data in an Excel spreadsheet, for example, you could just save that as a CSV file and then upload it into the data store via the discovery environment. To apply this metadata, I need to go up one level and select the folder that contains all of the files as well as the metadata. So I just scroll down to Metadata Test here. Put a checkbox next to it. And then under the Edit menu, I select Metadata, Apply Bulk Metadata, and then select Metadata File. Here I'm going to browse to that same directory in my home directory and select the metadata file and say OK. Now, because I'm not using a template here, I will just use the Select Metadata Template field blank and say OK. So it just so happens that I've actually done this demo once or twice before, so I already have some metadata on my files. And I'm going to go ahead and overwrite that. If you're doing this for the first time, you will not get this warning. If you're not doing it for the first time, please be careful about whether or not you actually want to overwrite any existing metadata. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes. And then I should get a pop-up notification that my metadata was successfully applied. Now if I go back into the directory and look at one of the files, I can see that test 1 has metadata applied to it with the attribute letter, value A, attribute number, value 1, and the same thing for test 2 and test 3. And that's it.